Yeah, we're excited to host the SEC Championships out at the Watts Cross Country Course. It's the second time the SEC meet has been out there. It's a great course. Obviously, we're always feel very fortunate to have such a fine facility that we've been able to host now the second SEC Championships and multiple NCAA regional championships. SEC meets obviously, it's the start of the championship season for us, so we're it's kind of the time of year we point towards. Last year, we're coming off of the men were 4th last year. The women were 6th last year. Probably, the depth of the conference looks very similar in the regards that, last year the women finishing 6th. All 6 of the top 6 teams in the SEC all made it to the NCAA national championships. Up our SEC performance with the 2nd in the NCAA regional championships, and advanced to the national meet. It looks pretty similar this year in regards to the women's side is really, really deep in the SEC. A lot of really good teams. The men's is good, a little bit more top-heavy on the men's side with Arkansas, probably a heavy favorite, followed by Alabama, and then pretty wide open after that. So.
Who has questions for Coach? We can go back behind the lights on the left side to Tyler and then to Ben.
Wendell, how would you say kind of your overall performance at the Artura was, and what'd you like from that, and then how much does being at home for the SECs help you guys?
Well, the Barrios meet went really well for us. I mean, it's a meet that has grown. It's really deep meet. Our men ran really well. Our men were 3rd. Our men just kind of keep getting better and better. The 2 teams that beat us were really good, and it really gives us momentum heading into the championship time of the season on both sides. On the women's side, we finished 9th in a really deep field. Shawai Johnson, who was our number 4 last year on our team that went on to finish 30th in the country, she was coming off an injury in the summertime, and we had given strong consideration to redshirting her this year. So we ran her unattached at the Barrios meet, and she would have been our number 3 runner. If we plugged her in there, we would have bumped up a couple places, which kind of puts us exactly where we were at this point last year. And so I feel like we're going into the conference meet with a little bit of momentum after the Barrios meet. I like to think there's an advantage to being at home. We obviously know the course. We're very comfortable. This will be the SEC meet will be our 3rd meet at home this year. The NCAA regional meet, which is 2 weeks later, will be our 4th meet at home. I think there's there's comfort in staying in a routine that's very similar. We sleep in our own beds, don't have to worry about travel, all that stuff. At the same time, last year we had what we thought was a really good SEC meet, and we had about the worst travel imaginable getting there. We ended up having flights canceled. Spent a good 14 hours or so traveling to get to Columbia, South Carolina last year, and we ran great. So I like to think it's an advantage. We know the course. We love the course. Some of our kids, like Coach Abel was joking earlier this year, that there are parts of the course where you step a certain direction because you're so used to coming around a turn where there's a little dip there, or there's a branch that tends to overhang off of one of the trees and stuff. And so I think that's comforting. You don't get out there and wonder how far it is left to the finish line and stuff, but still got to line up and race. So, but we are excited about being at home. Don't get me wrong. I feel like the people also, and I don't want to belabor it, but the people that help us put on our championship meets just do an amazing job. This is a special place when it comes to that kind of stuff, and it makes it easier for us as coaches to be able to coach. And there's a lot of places in the country that's not the case. There's a lot of places where, when you're a coach, it is all hands on deck to put on the meet, prepare the course, paint the course, et cetera, et cetera. Here we've got such great support that obviously we're involved as coaches, but it allows us an opportunity just to go out there and be coaches. So that makes it fun.
We'll stay on TV row and go to the right side to Ben.
You kind of touched on the home course advantage aspect. I guess just how do you feel like y'all are health-wise heading into this, just physically? And I know you mentioned, a couple people battling some illnesses, specifically San Juanita as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was a tough blow. We haven't talked much about that, but we lost SJ for the season. She's probably, honestly, the best recruit we've ever brought in on the women's side of Texas A&M, the history of Texas A&M. She's just a standout, and she stepped on a rock earlier this season and turned her ankle, and she's out for the season, and that's unfortunate. But and I'm always a glass half full kind of guy, and so I look at it like with her. I've talked to her. Hey, listen, next year you get to be in cross country. You get to be a freshman all over again because she competed this first part of the season. She'll get the medical red shirt, and so that's she'll get to do that, and our team gets to kind of grow a little bit, without knowing, we don't have that low stick. I mean, that was very comforting having somebody that sure looked like she's going to develop into a very, very elite level runner. I mean, already a very elite level runner. So you hate to lose her for the season because that provides that nice cushion when somebody's running that well. At the same time, we'll grow from that this year, and if we can grow over the next few weeks like we did last year at this time of the year, get to the NCAA championship meet, be a top, go from being a top 30 team to a top 25 team at the national championships, and do that without her, that would be spectacular. And that puts us in position next year when she steps back in the lineup. We also add some of the recruits we've already received commitments from, and a year from now we get even better. That's the hope. We still got to get there. I mean, like every year is a new team, and I think always having somebody up in the front like SJ provides you a little bit more confidence within your group, and so they've had to kind of they're going through that process of figuring that out, since the Texas A&M Invitational, but. Other than that, we've been pretty healthy. I mean, we went through the phase of illness and stuff like that. Hopefully that's all out of our system now. I think talking to every cross-country coach in the country, I think everybody's kind of gone through that one point this fall. Hopefully we're through that and moving forward. And, I've already told some of our kids, like, you run the way you did at Barrios at the SEC meet, we'll be pretty happy with the end result.
We'll go third row on the left side to Luke.
Talented underclassmen and that are really impressing so far.
Yeah, I mean, on the women's side, Maddie Peters has stepped up as a freshman. She was our #1 runner in the last meet. She was actually, until this year, was the course record holder for the high school 5K on our course. And so maybe she just likes running our course. I don't know, but she ran really well at the Barrios meet. Megan Roberts, who's a local product, who's a redshirt freshman for us in cross country, has really developed well. And those are the kind, I mean, Megan is one of those, she's kind of one of those stories we like telling as coaches. We all love recruiting the superstars out of high school. We also love, I was just talking to somebody this morning, we love the developmental process. We love talking about those kind of stories. And she's done a fantastic job for us. Kennedy Fontenot has continued to be, she's a junior, solid as a rock. I mean, she's going to, I'm excited to see her, not only a progression in cross country, but really excited to see her on the track this year, where she's got the potential to be one of the best steeplechasers in the country. She just has a kind of a knack for that event. On the men's side, the guys that have been leading the charge, Zach Munger and Jack Johnston, they're sophomores. We didn't redshirt them as freshmen last year. In hindsight, maybe it would have been nice to redshirt them, but they really grew a lot last year. And I mean, they're running at a level. If you would have told me when we recruited them they'd be running this well this early in their careers, I would have been. I don't know if I would believed you. I mean, it's really the kind of their trajectory has been really kind of off the charts. And I mean, our men's team before this year, we'd never had more than, I think, 3 athletes break 24 minutes for the 8K course on our home course at one time. At the A&M Invitational, we had 5 do it. And then at the Barrios meet, we had 7 break 24 minutes with our 8th runner right at 24 flat. mean, it's so, and the level of running in collegiate running is increased. There's a lot more. I don't know if the rules have loosened up, the interpretation of the rules have loosened up, where there's a lot more overage foreigners and stuff like that, so it's deeper and deeper and deeper. That makes it tougher, but at the same time, that's also really stepped up the level where the way kids think, and now the kids think what they think is good, has gone from, well, they used to think this was good, now they're like, well, this is good, and that's great. So it's kind of been just raising the bar, not only just for our kids, but I think across the board, distance running and track and field at the collegiate level it's better than it's ever been. I mean, NCAA meet looking at track, NCAA meet and track is one of the top 3 meets in the world. So
We'll go front row on the left side to Cease.
So last time, the meet was here, SEC, you're just in the league for a while, so couple parts. How far is your program gone, do you feel? And what about the addition of Texas now to the SEC?
Adding Texas and Oklahoma obviously just makes the conference deeper. I mean, we've obviously, the direction that college athletics seems to be heading is, the direction of these super conferences. And so now what used to be, a conference meet that seemed like a county fair, now the conference meet seems like it's, the World's Fair or something like that, where it's a big deal, it's big fields and stuff like that. And I've seen that evolution. My first started coaching in the SEC in fall of 1991, when that was when Arkansas's first year in the SEC. It was the fall of 1991, and everybody said that Arkansas was going to get a rude awakening in the SEC in cross country, and their men scored a perfect 15 points and ran away with it, and the women also won it. So I've seen that evolution. I don't know. I mean, it's whether I like it or not, that's the direction we're heading. It just makes the competition a little bit deeper, makes the level of our conference. Our conference already is a great preview, especially in track. I mean, it's the NCAA championships. We talk about as a staff, when we need to get rid of the NCAA regional meet in track and field and just qualify directly from the conference championships, because our conference championships is just barely a notch below the NCAA national championships. So adding Texas and Oklahoma just makes that continue. Our program continues to evolve. I mean, like I said, looking at where we were second in the SEC. Last time we hosted the SEC championships, our men were second to Arkansas. If we plugged in the times we ran at the Barrios meet onto the same course on that same day, we would win the thing going away. And we're not going to win the thing going away this year. But that's just the level of not just our team, but the level of the sport, how it's just getting better and better. You got to be faster, and you got to be, you got to set the bar high for yourself as well. You got to have higher expectations. I don't know if that's been a purely physical thing, or kids just kind of wrapping their heads around it a little bit, that what I think is good is different now than what I thought was good 5 years ago.